So today, I've been asked actually a few times, can I do a little video on how to make shepherd's pie? So I thought, yes, why not? I have a love-hate relationship with shepherd's pie because that's all I could cook when I first got married. Actually, I wasn't even married, I was dating Shafiq. And so it was every single dinner party, I just made shepherd's pie. So for a while, I kind of went off it. But recently, it's come back into our lives again, and we're back loving it. Another little confession too, shepherd's pie is actually made with lamb. But I don't like lamb particularly, so we make it with beef, which technically should be cottage pie, but still I'm calling it shepherd's pie. Very simple, very easy. We want a couple of onions chopped, we need some carrots, we need some chopped tomatoes, we need some tomato ketchup, and we need Worcestershire sauce. And then we also need some broth. I use that just to add up if I need some more juice. And then I have 2 pounds of ground beef. The reason it looks like this is just personally, I like to brown the beef first to take the fat off. And basically I just get a saucepan, pop it in, give it a good stir around till the pink's gone, and then run it through a colander, and then all that fat comes off. And then I just think it's a healthier way to eat. You don't have to do that. If you want all that fat in there, you go ahead and have it. So what I'm going to do now is quickly saute the onions, and then I'll show you how to make the rest of the shepherd's pie. Okay, so we've had about 10 minutes, and as you can see, the onions are lovely and golden, get nice and soft, and the carrots. I think I forgot to tell you I put the carrots in at the same time. So all we're going to do now is add the browned beef. And again, I'm just going to mix that nicely. And then we can add the other ingredients. This is so simple, it's great. So what we're going to do is add the chopped tomatoes. So that's about a cup or a can, you know, one of those small cans of chopped tomatoes. Give that a nice stir, mix it well. And then we're going to have, basically I've got a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Whoops! don't cook the bowl too. So we add the Worcestershire sauce, a tablespoon of that. And then the ketchup. I'm not sure how much ketchup I add, so I'm going to kind of guess. Because I just squirt it all in, so that's one tablespoon. I'm going to say about 3 tablespoons of ketchup. That should, and what that does is, even though you can use tomato paste, I like the ketchup because there's a little bit of sweetness to it, which kind of tastes nice in this dish. And then what we're going to do is add some salt and pepper. So you're going to add that to your taste, whatever you like. We like lots of pepper, and probably about a teaspoon of salt. Pop that in. Again, then have a look, and as you can see, it's still just a little bit dry. So what I'm going to do is add the beef broth, just to help to make the gravy. And you just kind of judge that. I always have a cup and see where I'm at. So that was a half a cup. Okay, so give that a good mix. And then we're going to cook this for about 40 minutes on a medium heat. Put the lid on. And while that's cooking, I'm going to show you how to make the mashed potatoes. Now, I'm assuming most people know how to make mashed potatoes, but just in case, for example, my children and my husband who's nodding his head behind the camera don't know how to make it. They're so simple. The problem I have with mashed potatoes, or any potato, I don't know if it's because I'm Irish, I cannot judge how many to cook. I make way too much. So I think it's from the days of the famine. There must be something in my bloodline that makes me cook too many potatoes. So I've kind of guesstimated what I think it will be for this dish, the shepherd's pie, which is 7 potatoes, about 2 pounds of potatoes. And basically you just peel them and cut them in half, that's all. And then pop them in a big pot of water, cold water, and then we're going to bring that to the boil. You need to add salt when you're cooking the potatoes, because that's where they get the flavour. I'm going to put about a teaspoon in. That's about that. Don't put too much, because you can't. Once you've got salt in your potatoes, you can't get it out. It's better to have a little less, and you can always add more at the end. And then when they're ready, we're going to need a cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of butter, and a masher. This is a potato masher if you haven't seen one. Now a lot of people like to use blenders, ricers, all kinds of weird stuff. Personally, I like the old-fashioned masher. And as my daughter always said, if there aren't the odd lumps in a potato, mashed potato, then it's not real. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these to the boil, and then once they start boiling, it'll take about 15 to 20 minutes for the potatoes to become soft. So when you poke with a fork, they'll fall apart, and then you know they're ready for mashing. So I'll come back to you when that's ready. Okay, so I've just taken the potatoes off the boil and strained them in the colander to get rid of all the water, and as you can see, they're really nice and soft. So when your fork can break them apart like that, that means they're ready. I just put tea towel under my saucepan to stop it sliding everywhere, because this is the mashing part. And basically you just got to mash really hard up and down, and when they're nice and soft like this, it's not hard at all to do. I'm just going to try and break up all the potatoes, all the lumps disappear. And you don't need to do that for very long. And then we're going to add the butter. And as I said, I've got 3 tablespoons. You can put more, put less, up to you. I find that just about enough. But I know I've seen people put a stick of butter in their potatoes, which is pretty obscene really, but I'm not going to say not to if that's what you like. You want really buttery potatoes. But this makes them nice and creamy. And then you smush it all around like that, and you can see it's all melted, it's all ready to go. So then it's the milk. So I normally have about a cup, just in case I don't know how much I'm going to use. So what you want to do is put maybe half a cup in to start with. Just kind of see how that goes. Now don't squish too hard with this, or you're going to end up with a face full of milk, which isn't very nice. Give that a little swirl around, and you can see they're coming together. Actually, that's a perfect amount. And then I'm just going to bash a little bit off here. I mean, as you remember, the other thing you can do is if you have a fork, you can kind of give it a nice little whip at the end. Little whipping makes it all nice and fluffy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to taste them. And remember when I was boiling them, I put some salt in? I put about a teaspoon, and I just need a bit more. So I've got this fancy new sea salt grinder, so I'm going to try that. So you're just going to have to put in what suits your palate. Taste it. As I said, always do err on the side of less. And if you taste them, they don't seem very creamy, they seem a bit dry, just add a little bit more milk. And that's it. I double dipped, but they're my potatoes, I'm allowed to. And Sasha, there's even the little lumps there for you. There you go, lovely creamy mashed potato, dead easy. Okay, so now we're going to assemble the shepherd's pie. I put the oven on 375, so it's heating up now. Now when we have shepherd's pie, usually I used to serve it with peas, but as I'm someone who likes to make life easier, I thought, why don't I cook peas on the side, why not cook them in there? So once it's all cooked, actually get a cup full of frozen peas and just add that to the mixture. Because it's going to cook in the oven for another half hour or so, the peas will cook then. So you don't have to worry. You could stick them in earlier, but they just kind of get a bit too mushy. So what we're going to do then, I've just got a nice Pyrex bowl that can go in the oven, so whichever one you want to have. You're going to serve it from this bowl, so make sure you pick a nice one. And scoop in the mixture as much as your little bowl fits. I usually have it leftovers so I can make an extra pie for another day. Okay, that's nice. Alright, I think that's good. So give it a little shake so it's even, and then we're just going to add the mashed potatoes. Now I always start in the middle and then work my way out. Again, just sort of dollop them in, and we're going to make them pretty at the end. So actually it was good. I said 2 pounds of potatoes I thought I would need. Oops, and that was about right. So just nice and easy, and then just with your fork mush all the potato about. So you can kind of make a lid for your meat mixture below. And then once that's kind of about even, so yeah, that's about right, then I just sort of go around and make little peaks, because I like it when it's when you brown it in the oven, then those peaks go nice and crispy. I have a thing about crispy bits, I love crispy bits. Now an optional ingredient, which we do, you don't have to, but if we like to put cheese on the top to kind of just make it a little bit more special. So again, I just grated up my favourite cheese, and you just sprinkle some over. So nice. Oh, I love cheesy potato, it's lovely. And then I think that's about good. Lovely. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bake this in the oven. Obviously it's all cooked really, so what we want to do is get the top nice and crispy and the bottom heated through, and then it's ready to rock and roll. We'll have shepherd's pie. So, get a little bit of cheese there. I'm going to cook that now. Oops. Got flying cheese. And we'll come back short, probably about 40 minutes, 30, 40 minutes I would say. And then we'll have a look at it when it's all done. So here we go, we're all finished. About 40 minutes and you've got your lovely Caroline shepherd's pie. Nice crispy top, as I said, with the cheese is all melted. And then you just have to dig in and get a nice spoonful. It's funny, I don't know why, I just suddenly remembered a story about shepherd's pie. Oh, look at that. Yum. Now, you can't say that's not absolutely scrumptious. But we used to sell this in our pub all the time, or a version of this. And I remember one day I was sitting with, I was about 19, 20, and I was just sitting with one of my managers in the pub. And my mum gave us shepherd's pie, and she was being all great, giving us extra, portions to impress my manager. And her name was Mary. So we were sitting there eating and just chit-chatting. And she took a mouthful, and she sort of went, oh, what's that? And she pulled out a piece of string. And so I was mortified, can you imagine? So a little while goes by, she has a few more spoonfuls, and she goes again and pulls out a little tiny nail. And obviously, something above where we kept the food on display in the pub, like a little toolbox, must have tripped or fallen, and a couple of the items had fallen into the food and nobody knew. Well, it was the most embarrassing lunch I ever had. Luckily, I still kept my job, so that was nice. So anyway, hopefully your shepherd's pie won't come out with anything nasty or unexpected. So I'm going to enjoy this now. Oh, another great thing about this dish is freeze is fabulous. I put this into small portions now for the kids in college, and I bring it up to them, and it's great. They just microwave it, and they've got a lovely, comforting food from home to enjoy.